The moon has long been a symbol of magic, mystery, and transformation. And now you can bring its glow into your own sacred space. In this video, I will show you how I created this enchanting moon lamp. This decor piece, this little portal of celestial beauty. Whether you're looking to add a touch of lunar magic to your altar, your home, or your nightstand, this DIY project is a simple yet stunning way to honor the moon's light. Let's begin. We are going to start off with some vellum paper with some moon printed on it. You can get any picture of a moon off the internet. We're going to grab any type of base that you'd like. I'm going to use a wood base, 3 cross-stitch wooden rings, a little feet stands. We're going to grab a little dollar store lights, some paint and brush. I'm going to grab some moss, some crystals, and we have some foraged pieces of wood that we're going to be gluing around the edges with some hot glue. Starting off with our cross-stitch rings. These you can find for $1 at the dollar store. These lights I also found for $1 at the dollar store. I'm just going to speed this up so you don't have to watch me struggle with this. Oh my gosh. So now what we're going to do, we're going to glue these lights around the perimeter inside the ring. Now you do want to leave a little bit more of a wire lead out, as I'm pointing to right about here, because we're going to need to squeeze that out, so you don't want too much of the other line close to the edge. And just start gluing all your lights in. Now you can glue over top of the light too. It'll actually brighten it up. It'll create some more light. We've done that with our mushroom effects before too. So you're going to continue all the way around. Just keep overlapping the lights. And we're just going to keep going here. Now you can see where they get side by side. That's great. I wound up putting some little protector fingers on there to help me squish it on there. So it worked out. I have nice space between the whole ring on the inside. And this is going to be our middle piece. So we're going to paint these up. We're just going to paint them simple and easy, nice and black. Super quick, and we're gonna let those dry, and we're gonna be gluing on our paper as well as our moss and our lights to this. So we're gonna make it a little darker because I don't want any of the wood pieces to show through. And I'm gonna paint between the lights. Don't get paint on the lights, especially with the black. We'll lose them. So you just want to take your time and work between the each. Work. You just want to take your time and work between each of the lights. There. So we're going to paint all the rings black now. And once those are dry, now we're going to cut out our moon that we printed out on vellum paper. Because this light will also work as well if you have a light behind it, behind the moon. It'll also glow up the moon too. There we are. Now that we've cut out the moon, we're going to mount that onto our rings. Now you want to keep the bottom of the fastener of the wooden cross-stitch ring at the bottom with a little screw, because we're going to use that to also help stabilize the whole piece once we glue it onto the platform. And I'm using two types of glue here, one to hold it down, one to tack it down, and the other one will take a little longer to dry, but it'll be a little easier. I'm using Gorilla Glue gel, I guess it'd be kind of like the gel glue, but you could use a tacky glue. I wound up using the hot glue also to tack it down because this vellum paper has a tendency to curl. So if you just use Mod Podge or something like that, then it's just going to curl on you and it won't stick down right away. Okay, I got my little pink fingers back on because I have to move it to the edges, and I was getting some of that gel glue stuck to my fingers. Now you can see I got some of the glue on the vellum paper, but that's okay, and I'm feeling okay with that because I'll just hide that with some crystals and I'll hide that with some moss. Now again, we're taking a nice little glue line all the way around the perimeter again of the moon, just lightly around the edges. And we're going to mount our second ring. Now remember, we're keeping our wire out so it's not going to get tangled. And we're keeping the screw base right to the bottom again. And we're going to add our last and final ring. This is going to look so cool. I've gotten all this stuff at the dollar store. I'm feeling pretty stoked. My crystals I kept ordering offline, and they were supposed to be clear, but they wound up being raw and scratched up. And so I know that we're going to make these glow and they'll find a beautiful home and be happy. There we go. Hot glue and super glue. Done. So now we're going to glue down some pieces here, and these we're going to hold our rings to the bottom of the base. Pour an excess amount of hot glue so it'll just adhere and stick in there. Yeah, there we go. Oh, and I'm making a mess already. So we're going to use different pieces of the wood to help secure it and balance it out. And I find my glue, this bigger glue gun's really hot, so it's not cooling down for me fast enough. So I'm having to hold a little bit more, using my other glue gun to tack it, and there it seems to be working. My smaller glue gun cools down a little faster versus my larger one's too hot. Do you ever find that problem? It takes a little longer to get everything kind of in there. Now we're going to build up the base, and we're going to build up around the ring. So first I'm going to use what pieces I have to shape and cruise all the way around the outside of the ring. And these pieces wound up being pretty cool. They're fitting together quite nicely. And don't worry about any glue globs that you see sticking out, because we're going to cover that up with some moss and some other little pieces of wood. And just cruise around and see what you can fit all in there, and then add some little pieces around the holes and just keep building it up. And we're going to hide the outside of the black ring now. So adding some little pieces and some extra bits, and we're almost done creating our outside piece. So now we're going to create and go around the front using some little pieces. And I wound up finding this stick that I had on my altar, and I forgot that I was going to be using it for my sun catcher, but it just looked so good. It just looked like it was knotted and it wanted to go in towards it. It belonged there. I love this piece. Now we're gluing in our crystals. They are working. They are glowing. They're happy. So I am gluing them directly onto the lights, and that's going to help them glow right up. So even if you have some raw crystals and they're not clear quartz like I have here, I really wish I had the clear ones, but it looks like this raw is still going, it's glowing for me, so I'm quite happy about that. And now I'm going to fill in the perimeter around the base. And that one I'm just going to put lots of moss, have some fun there. And I wound up bringing the moss all the way to the edges. And I'm just going to fill in, well, I'm going to hide the wire here. I'm going to hide glue marks. Anywhere where it looks like the little wood pieces to me look like rocks. Anywhere there's two don't quite go together, I'm going to put some moss there and just kind of hide any imperfections. This is the back of it. We're not really going to see it too much. I'm not adding a whole bunch there. But again, I want to bring in the moss, did it over again right to the edge. And using just the end of my brush here, and I'm going to squeeze some into some holes because I don't have enough little pieces of wood to hide in all the holes there. So I'm just going to use the moss to help bring that in and just tie it all together. And I'd like to hide some of the glue now that I have around the crystals. So I'm just going to jam in some moss there too. Some little bits here and there, and I like to not see some of the black around the perimeter. So now again at the top here, I'm just going to fill in the holes. I only went up the sides a little bit more than halfway on one side and just a little bit with the crystals on the right side, and I like it. I don't think it needs to have crystals coming from all the way around like teeth or something like that in. I'm happy with how that is. Just a minimal, and it doesn't need to be symmetrical when you're doing crystal work. Because I'm quite symmetrical. I always like everything balanced out, but this one, I think it looks nice, a little oblong. Now you can get little pieces of wood like this at the dollar store too, or just forage in the forest and rip off some bark off some old broken down branches. Bark around this would be really, really cool too. That could work out nicely. All right, I don't care about the back. Don't mind my salt jar. I was using that to hold up the lamp. Ha! Now I have some leftover miniature teeny tiny mushrooms for when we did, I think it was the fairy ring that we did. I did so many mushrooms. I must have had close to it, like 50 of them in there. But these are some that are left over, so I'm going to hide some mushrooms in my moss, because that wouldn't be me if I didn't have mushrooms in this. So we're going to hide some little baby mushrooms in here, a couple here and there, and then some probably by the crystals would be cool too. I have two different species of mushrooms, kind of both painted the same. I'm going to use them all. Yeah, that's going to look cool there. Oh, almost wiped out. Sorry, little guy. I think that looks so cute. Okay, I'm liking the mushrooms here. Definitely they needed a little bitty mushrooms. Now this little lamp you can put on your altar. You can have decor in your house, your table, your night lamp, anywhere you think of. So I had just an absolute blast making this. It may have taken me maybe 2 hours total, not very long. It was more the gluing of the moss that took the longest part of this, but it really didn't take too long at all to make this. And it was probably under $10 to make or less. Now this is kind of like a diorama. It's like a little moon portal in the forest, which is super cool. But I would love to make another diorama. It has been a mad minute, my friend. So throw me down in the comments below what you'd like to see me make for a diorama. I'm in the mood to make something cool. Maybe a fairy portal or something I find in the forest. I need to make something cool for you guys. Well, thanks so very much for joining me today. And as always, I want to wish you an absolutely magical day.